Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy EtzMegaa back with another Undisputed video. Man, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a minute, you know. It's been a while since I last uploaded. I was just busy with some other things outside of content creation, some other work. But now I'm back, posting more videos, more regularly obviously. I've missed every single person that used to watch my videos, people that have subscribed to me, people that I used to interact with regularly. I've still been around the scene here and there, been in a few streams, been in Discord a bit here and there. So, I mean, I've spoken to a few people, but it feels good to be back posting videos. And the best way to start is that Undisputed dropped an update just today. So the footage you guys are seeing in the background of me using Caleb Plant and my opponent using Sugar Ray Leonard is from one of the first fights I actually got in this update itself. And I managed to get a few fights in back to back because I wanted to gather my thoughts properly before I actually made a video. So as you guys know, this is update 1.4.4 and this is mostly obviously a gameplay update. And with this update, I mean, one of the first things to start off with and one of the most important things to start off with was the punch tracking improvements. Now, to be honest, punch tracking feels much better. There definitely is an improvement from the punch tracking before the update and the punch tracking we now have after the update. When I was looking for counter shot openings in the first fight that I had, I was actually landing nice counter punches, and with those counter punches, after finding that counter window, the punches I was landing, wherever I chose to land those punches, whether that was the head, whether that was the body. For example, if you guys remember, before this update, the left hook to the body was a punch that would sometimes land and sometimes not land. It was a bit of a hit and miss. Alongside that was the straight right, another punch that used to do the exact same. But after this update now, after the 1.4.4 update, the punches are landing much more cleaner. The left hook to the body lands more often, and so does the straight right when you time it correctly. Of course, it's a boxing game. Timing has to be perfect. You gotta really get with that timing in the game. But apart from that, the punch tracking and the smoothness of the punches is definitely seeming better to me from what I've played. So shout out to Steel City Interactive for that. Something else that I'm glad to see is that Steel City Interactive is communicating with the community more often, and they're giving the community more of an insight into what's to come next for Undisputed. So that's another important thing, to be honest, something that we were all asking for, and I'm glad that's happening. So something else that was written in the patch notes was that punch damage based on stamina has been rebalanced, and this is evident to me because of one of the fights I had in this update where my opponent was in flat foot movement, I was in flat foot movement in round 8, and it goes to show that you can't just throw any punch at any time. You have to be very careful now with what punch you throw, because if you get caught with a big counter punch, a big power shot, it can be game over right there. So what this basically means is to not throw punches blindly once your stamina is that low, and especially if your opponent has more stamina than you in that specific part of the fight. Another thing that was mentioned in the patch notes was about the power punch hit confirmation system. They said, we have increased the risk reward for throwing power punches. Recovery time will be longer if a power punch is missed or blocked. What this basically means is that if you throw a power punch and you miss or your opponent blocks it, this will make you take longer to recover before you can actually throw a punch like that again. And on top of that, power punches, we all know they do massive damage in this game. If you land a counter power punch, the chances of getting stunned, the chances of getting flash knocked down are extremely high. But if they don't connect, then you're left open and the chances of your opponent landing a punch on you are very high. So on to the next thing that was mentioned in the patch notes, which was the revised KO system. The flash system has been reworked and flash KOs are back. The system has been revised to better reflect in-ring momentum. Chances of flash dazes and knockdowns are more closely tied to successful power punches, counter punches and critical combos. Now, first I just want to talk about the flash knockdowns, and yeah, just the flash knockdowns and the dazes, to be honest. From what I've seen in some of the fights as well, I will show one of the footage, one of the clips from some footage I have from this update, where it goes to show that power punches can lead to flash knockdowns. I don't know about obviously flash knockouts completely. I mean, before the update it used to just be like a standard hook or a standard straight right that would completely just knock your opponent out. But I'm not sure how that's exactly changed in this update because I haven't got a flash knockout yet. Flash knockdowns I have got, and it definitely makes more sense that they are tied closer, like it says in the patch notes, to power punches, counter punches and critical combos. Like a solid 3-4 punch combination should be able to lead to a flash knockdown. That's the way it should be. And alongside that, obviously the fact that it's counter punches and power punches that are working towards that, alongside obviously the combinations, this definitely makes sense to me, and I hope it makes sense to you guys as well. And so far from what I've seen as well with the flash knockdowns, they're working fine and everything works smooth. Oh, I just continued reading on the patch notes, and it does say that flash KOs are specifically tied to power punches, successful power punches and successful counter power punches, particularly when the opponent is running low on stamina. So that goes to show when the flash knockouts, like the actual knockouts, can happen. Goes to show that from successful power punches and successful counter power punches, especially when your opponent is low on stamina. Okay, that's something new, and that makes sense to me. I mean, first, like I said, we didn't see, I mean, I personally didn't see before the update and before they removed flash knockouts from the game, I didn't see any flash knockouts come from a power punch. I have never seen that. I mean, if anyone can show me footage from it, please do, but I've never seen a flash knockout come from a power punch before they removed it from the game previously. But now, I mean, if this is the case, something interesting and it's something good. So I'm glad flash KOs are now back in the game as well. So some of the next things on the patch notes are some fighter fixes and some character creator updates, which I'm just going to quickly go over. So Andy Ruiz has had his punch speed increased. He's had his rating updated in-game as well. David Benavidez has had his punch speed increased as well, and so has Sugar Ray Leonard, his 87 version. Alongside that, the character creator updates, Jack Dempsey and Jack Johnson's movesets are now available in character creator. Vintage collection cosmetics, including old school cosmetics, have been added to character creator. So those are just, that's some information for the people that are more interested in the character creator stuff. I don't really use that much, so I wouldn't know too much about that. But the fighter fixes sound interesting. Andy Ruiz definitely needed his punch speed increased for sure, and so did David Benavidez. So now onto the bug fixes on the patch notes, which is definitely by far like one of the most important things gameplay wise. And starting off with the first one, it says fixed an issue where the evade state lasted too long, affected punch tracking. Now, everyone who plays online, regardless of it being ranked or just quick fight, everyone should kind of know about this. I mean, it was evident and it was so visible that that evade state lasted crazy long sometimes before the update. Alongside that, I mean, sometimes you would throw a bunch of punches and nothing landed. Like, this was obviously before the punch tracking fix. Nothing was landing, punches were going through, some punches were going around, and it just didn't make sense. But from some of the fights I've had today, I can now see that when I've stunned my opponent in those matches and my opponent's backing up, I'm chasing my opponent down, the evade state doesn't last as long as it did previously. And on top of that, now because punch tracking has improved, it is now easier to land those punches in order to get a knockdown. So this next issue goes hand in hand kind of with the issue we just spoke about, and it says fixed an issue where punches would miss dazed opponents. Now I remember this happened a lot. This used to happen quite regularly, and sometimes it could happen 2-3 times. I had fights where this was happening 3 to 4 times during matches where I stunned my opponent. I'd literally be chasing them down. They were backing up super fast. I couldn't catch up to them, and when I was throwing punches, they were whiffing and just completely missing when they should be landing. So that's been fixed as well. I'm glad to see that. I mean, once again, a lot of this just comes back down to tracking issues that the game originally had. So once the tracking has been sorted, a lot of the other issues kind of get ironed out, if that makes sense. So the next note in the patch notes says, fixed an issue with punches occasionally missing or going over the opponent's head in close range fighting. Now, I remember before the update using David Benavidez, and I really wanted to use him as soon as he released in the game. But the problem with using his fighter was that his hooks would occasionally just fly over your opponent's head. For example, I was fighting a Sugar Ray player, Sugar Ray Leonard, and I would throw hooks here and there, and the hooks would just fly over the opponent's head. And the opponent would barely need to duck or get away from the punch for that to even happen, which was, I mean, it was frustrating at times, especially when your opponent would find a nice counter shot opening from it, especially when the punch should have landed. But I haven't used David Benavidez at the moment since, and I haven't actually tested this issue properly, so I'm not too sure about this one. Let me know, guys, in the comment section if this is still happening. Another thing that they said was that they fixed an issue with power body uppercuts having an extended reach compared to body uppercuts. I mean, I remember when the body uppercuts back in early access days were overpowered, like people could spam those out completely and they had an extended reach compared to what they have now. But those have been fixed and adjusted, and now they've said as well that the power body uppercuts have been adjusted to some extent as well. I mean, reach wise, so that's good to hear. I mean, this will at least reduce some of the spammers, people that use Canelo and spam like 3 to 4 power body uppercuts back to back and think they're good at the game. So I mean, this is good to hear as well. I mean, let's be real, guys, nobody likes to play a spammer. No one wants to play someone who's exploiting game mechanics in order to get a cheesy win and increase their record and keep the losses very minimal on their record. I mean, to me that counts as a loss anyway. Someone who plays like that, it doesn't even count as a win. So I'm glad to see that Steel City Interactive is adjusting those power body uppercuts and has looked into that issue. Now, the final stuff that was said on the patch notes was that various animation bug fixes and various stability fixes, and that's basically the end of those patch notes. Something I want to talk about is something that happened to me in one of the fights in Undisputed. I just want to give the developers this feedback so they can just take note of this. There was two things I heard about. One thing I actually experienced myself during a fight in Undisputed. Actually, two things I experienced during a match in Undisputed, and one thing that I heard about that I've seen in the Discord going around. I just wanted to put this in the video as well so the developers know about this issue. So this first issue happens right here in this fight. It happens 2 times in this one round alone, and you guys are going to notice it. It's quite visible, to be honest, and I noticed it when I was having the match, and I've never seen this before, obviously, so that definitely means it's some sort of issue. Look right there, that camera or frame issue that just happened there. You guys are going to see it here again now. I'm going to play that footage. So this issue you guys are going to see now is the second issue I was talking about from one of the fights I was having against a Canelo player. This was literally mid-fight. So yeah, those are the 2 bugs that I came across in my matches in Undisputed in this update so far. Reason I'm obviously putting them in the video is because it's important to let the developers know that this did happen. So I mean, this needs to get sorted, whatever this was, the random disconnection in round 7 during the match, and on top of that, that camera or frame issue that I was showing, it happened twice in the same round. So yeah, I hope the developers just identify this as well and see this. Alongside that, one final thing I wanted to mention was something I did hear about as well, was the fact that the health wouldn't go down between rounds. Like after each round, your fighter would kind of sit at that 99% health, 98%, 97% health, and the health was rarely going down. I mean, it could go into the later rounds and the health would be extremely high. So that's something I've heard about. Obviously, if Steel City, anyone from Steel City does watch this and they've come across this issue, then they would already know about it. That's just something I wanted to put in the video as well, because I did hear about that during this update. And so my final thoughts on this update are that this update is a good update. They've made improvements to the game. They've made improvements to punch tracking, which was definitely needed. So once again, shout out to Steel City Interactive for that. Alongside that though, there was those couple of issues that I mentioned, so hopefully those can get sorted soon as well. But apart from that, it's a good update, to be honest. From the matches I played, I enjoyed those fights. I was using slips, as you guys can see in the videos. I was mixing it up with some good shots, some good combinations, and I was landing a bunch of counter punches as well, and those counter punches were landing quite nicely. And so that is because of obviously the tracking being improved. So yeah, overall good update. And yeah, so that is the end of the video. Do make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below and let me know what you guys think of the update. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed that boxing showcase as well. I'm not going to lie, I tried to keep the boxing as clean and crisp as possible, using all the game's mechanics, the slips, the side steps, and all of that stuff. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Do make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.